Welcome to another episode of The Blank Canvas, a project brought to you by Plinko Solutions, focused on AI and accessibility. Today is one of those really interesting days. I'm constantly building in public, showcasing business infrastructure in real time. Today was one of those days where I've had my first kind of, call it a grace of planning an audit internally that I love to do for myself, regardless if I'm a founder or not. Every 2 weeks to a month, you just kind of gauge, like, what am I doing with my life and my calendar to build the things that I'm envisioning, right? Today's one of those days, and I'm at the edge of a 6-hour caffeinated sprint, and I'd love to kind of take you guys through what I'm doing right now in real time to actually drive revenue and multiply my output. So this right here was talking a lot about the sales and offer side of things. Today is one of those pillars I wanted to speak distinctly about, which is internally, how am I doing this, right? One thing that I don't talk about often is my theory of constraints when it comes to compute power. So right now, as a sole proprietor, I am one entity, meaning one line, one perspective, towards, how I can create and what I can do. In the world of AI agents and orchestrating a business model that feeds on itself, we look towards systems that actually help build that. Now, when you talk about systems, what I'm talking about are things that actually work on your behalf without extended labor, without additional input from yourself. So for me, I have a number of those I'm happy to showcase. Okay, let's take you through it. So a few concepts here, it's worth kind of giving a shot in terms of outlining. So to begin, the first sort of AI agent that I have in full production and using real time today right now, I realize these can become time sinks because you're looking at essentially a research kind of angle to just basically ideate and say, hey, how far can I actually take this? So that's me using ChatGPT agent mode and having 13 prompts left. That's me maximizing my million monthly token limits on Bolt.new. That's basically me maximizing my Upwork credits that I've spent already. How do I design that basically in my schedule? I'll show you guys. So right now, I have 4 production ready AI agents that are working for me right now that basically shrink what I would normally take time to do to a 1-hour task. That's recording, that's outreach, that's follow up and nurturing to people that I'm already talking to, which I do pretty much manually for the most part. I'll show you guys how. And then my daily compass, basically how I orient myself. So that's reflective kind of in my calendar, right? My days begin with that like less than an hour kind of compass, kind of like how do I orient myself? This can sometimes start down here at 2 p.m., which it did today because Sunday's my first day kind of just, having a breath. And then also seeing the prospecting piece is really just me going on Upwork, maximizing my Upwork outreach to basically get surface area to generate new leads at the top of funnel that I can directly talk to. So people that are problem aware, solution aware, and are trying to fix something and are ready to pay for it. So spend an hour just recording 5-minute Loom videos, reaching out to each one. That could also be DMing people, checking out the folks that are, top of the funnel. From there, my days typically are actually compressed with building in real time. So I actually, throw these in and I do this kind of weekly, sometimes monthly. But as you can see for the past few months or weeks, I would say months as well. If I go even further back, gets crazier, kind of as you ideate. I've been using reclaim.ai, kind of makes sense of this. So really, this has been a great tool. It allows me to basically set these kind of calendar suggestions, which is pretty sweet. Highly recommend checking it out. With the recording piece, I use Alphonic, right? So that's kind of my key AI sound engineer. Basically, whatever I feed into it cleans up the audio, and then all I have to do this 15-minute time frame is do the video edits. The next piece that's really cool about the nurturing piece is just me actually sitting down, sending text, emailing people. I have it open throughout the day just in case, and sometimes I'll glance over there. But I try not to when I'm actually doing something else because of context switching. This basically now sets me up for client work. So most of my client projects fall under the bucket of market research. So actually scraping information for people, designing those sort of information, combination. So it actually feeds an intelligence system and basically makes their AI better. This is an interesting kind of consultative approach because you're like, hey, I'm aware of the benchmarks. I'm on top of the news. I'm obsessed with it. That is an asset in the eyes of people that are not doing that all the time. So if you can position yourself as an authority and sort of understanding that, and then broadcasting that back out, right? So that kind of conversation usually happens one-to-one right now on a client basis. Now that I'm recording, I'm, maximizing that. Also, when it comes to my client work, most of my stuff that I'm doing is personalization waterfalls. So what this is a really interesting piece. And I kind of got this idea from Artisan Co., which is an enterprise sales co-pilot. No affiliate with these guys, but their minimum basic pricing piece is like 10K as an entry point. Doesn't show on the website, but if you go and talk to them, they're under-servicing a large market, which is really cool because if you can offer this, as I do, a lot of my proposals, my demos really showcase this and contextualize like, hey, not only do we know better who we're talking to, here's how we actually take them and move through this sort of marketing funnel to generate more leads and produce more revenue top of line. But in order to conduct that, I need to face a real problem. So what's that real problem? And it takes place right over here. This is where I'm at today. So the real problem right now, something called presales. So with any software that is sold, any sort of piece of tech, there is a huge gap between the people who understand. Keep in mind that problem-aware, solution-aware piece. They don't even know that this tech exists. They don't even know what AI can do. They think it's a search engine. They think it's something you could just kind of talk to, but really it's an intelligent system that you can build upon. And when you formulate it like that, you're essentially proposing a blueprint. That blueprint functions as a educational asset that somebody can extrapolate information from. Pre-sales education is essentially, how do I get you aware that here's a problem, here's a solution? How do I walk that line? How do I basically connect that for you? And usually that falls in the realm of diagrams. That falls into the realms of like, how well can I storytell, change, and experience with this new tool? And now that I'm bridging more of that, I'm realizing a real linchpin happens in compute where right now, I'll show you guys, I'm at a gamble because I'm maximizing my tokens. I'm out here basically seeing how far I can go with my paid plans. And one thing I noticed with GPT is really interesting. I've been running basically, like I mentioned, I maxed out Bolt.new. I also maxed out, I'm near maxing out my agent prompts for ChatGPT. I've also noticed something here. So my memory under personalization is 93% full. That's a problem because as I build my business infrastructure pretty much at the limit of a ChatGPT project, I realized a real problem and a real need for memory, which is a good discovery because now, instead of basically walking you through everything, I need to figure out how to output this essentially into an easier place. So that's a problem for tomorrow. You're going to see me do that right here. So extend RAG functionality. What is RAG? RAG is retrieval augmented generation, which basically extends your memory and your reach. There's a few ways to basically do that, but they require time. So keep in mind that 2 to 4 hours, agents of the time basically are business developing agents. I have right now, this production that I'm going to shoot right now, where basically, to walk you guys through it, I've been creating this questionnaire, right? So as I've been doing it, I've tried my best to condense the prompts that it uses up. And I noticed in real time that it led me to a point where it was like, okay, right over here. So the branch is currently 9 commits ahead. So if you caught that right there, kind of flicks through. I'm asking too much of it, essentially. I'm pushing the limits. I'm trying a lot of ideas, but you know what? Right now, with 12 left, let's see how confident I am. I trust you to use all 9 for the commits. You got this. I believe in you. Which is kind of an interesting piece because now I realize for the last like 5 prompts I've talked to this thing, I've positioned it as a sort of like, hey, I believe in you. I trust that you can do this. It keeps doubting itself. So I'm kind of like playing this bit of actually getting it to trust itself. So in doing that, a lot of my approaches have been like, okay, let me actually talk to you as I would with any intelligence system and say, hey, what do you need for, me to do this effectively? And I would turn off agent mode. I would just lean on GPT-5 thinking under the $20 model. And I made sure I also connected GitHub. So I gave it a actual public place to use. This wasn't connected initially. And I recognized that last time I tried this, I burned through a good amount of prompts, but lesson learned. And that's something you kind of learn while you're in the flow of it. But I went down here, hit add. I was able to add in GitHub. If you're interested in seeing how to do that, there's a lot of resources. But from there, I basically let it run. And when you do this, it's token intensive. It uses up, production, and it's a gamble because I'm not going to get any more for another 15 days. So how can I use my other tools to then achieve that function? Or hopefully, be busy with paying client work. But the nature of this is sometimes you finish your projects, you've made your revenue goals, and you're like, all right, what do I build that will propel me further? And that's what this is. So it's combining existing tools to achieve that. This is what it's like to build real-time business infrastructure. I'm not too far away from using orchestration to essentially fully design a business and do it within the tiers provided. Even paying for whatever the $20 a month is, it's not enterprise. There are ceilings. And if you're using this commercially, you will hit those ceilings. That's the reality of it. So how do you use the revenue you're generating to further propel? How do you use this revenue to actually drive your business forward? That's the core question. And the better we can answer that, the better we can actually build something in real time. So while I'm done that's the day. I'm now taking a break, going to touch some grass, and being able to then tomorrow return to the top of funnel, reach out to people that I've worked with, and go through the process again, because those habits, those routines, when you compound them over a longer period of time, they generate a return on that effort. That's what I'm learning, and I'm embracing that. It's actually really fun. So yeah, that all being said, see you guys in the next one.